Hello and welcome to today's stream. Today we will be having a look at the active users and showing when they were last online. I think maybe in this video what we'll do is we'll kind of just go through the functionality to store when the video was store when the user was last online, and then when we come to kind of style the index page for the forum, we'll go about maybe adding an online list. I don't want to use subscriptions or anything for this. I don't want to overcomplicate things. Simply, I would just like to, first of all, just record when users were last online. Obviously, with privacy first, what I would like to do as well at some point is add when you log in whether or not you want to be tracked or not, because by default, I think today we'll just kind of get it recording when you were last seen. And then in the future, we'll add a checkbox or something whenever you log in to say, please don't track me. So let's dive on in and let's get set up with the Next server. We'll run that. Then if we head to localhost 3000, what we should see is our forum. And I will share my screen. So this is the issue that we will be looking at today. This will be setting the last seen of the online users. So this is the index we'll probably place below on the forum when the user was last online, but this is where we are at the moment. So why don't we try and figure this out? Try and figure out what we are going to do this. So in the original issue, we said it would be good to update the last seen value every 60 to 90 seconds and show an online users list at the root of the site, in the sidebar or at the bottom of the page. Where it goes, we'll do that in another video. Let's just focus on storing it. I don't like this, I don't like reaching for maybe set info here and updating the database every whatever seconds. I just find it's a bit dirty, and there's probably a better way for our use case. I'm not particularly bothered if a user has been online, if they're online now, or we're probably just going to say these users were last online in the last 30 minutes or something, just keep it relatively straightforward. So I'm not too bothered about it. Keep polling and pushing those updates. It's probably a little bit overkill. What we may do is we may hook into Next.js and we may hook into the router methods. So I think it's router events. If we have a look at that. So we could say when the user completes the route change, update the last seen in the DB for that user. That might be a little cleaner. And then it's really bound to use, there's probably going to be a user at that point. So yeah, let's do it for that. I think that would be the better choice. So let's give it a go. Let's see what's going on. So should we create a new component or a context provider for this? It's just a component, really. We'll call it last seen provider, or we'll call it last seen, and we'll simply just export a default function here. We'll give it a name of last seen. It's probably going to take some children, and it's going to obviously return those children. We just want it to kind of pass through everything. So if we go into, where's the best place to put this, do you think? An app? Yeah, it's probably better to put this in here. So we'll do import last seen from the components directory, and we'll go inside of the auth provider because we want to reach up and get some data about the current logged in user. So we'll wrap that there. So back inside of the last seen component, let's go ahead and import useEffect from React, and we'll import router from Next router. We could probably do we'll just do use router, and then inside of here we'll do const router equals use router. We will be, I think later on we will use different parts of that. I'm just trying to think the best way to go about doing this. We'll need to import GQL and Hasura user client from the lib folder, and that'll be Hasura user client. And then we will do const Hasura equals Hasura user client. Then we'll go ahead and we'll create a mutation now for updating when the user was last seen. So we could call this update user last seen. This will be a GraphQL mutation. It will take in variables, and that will be, user last seen. The variables will be what user we want to update, and what users we want to update, and the timestamp. So can we pass a UUID, and we'll say this is last seen. Or could just call this now. This would be timestamp TZ, because we've done this before. And then now it's just a case of doing update users by primary key. Now, if I remember rightly with Hasura, we need to pass in all of the unique fields here. Let's just go double check that. This will return the record of the user. And the columns will be email and ID. We have to pass them both in. I thought we could update by just one, but I'm not sure why that is. And then we'll do set. And we'll do set last seen, and that will be now. Then this, we're going to have to maybe pass in email as well. Oops. This will be type string. I'm not liking the look of this already. Maybe so we could just do update users, and then this becomes where, and then it is where the user ID is equal to ID, and then we can still set on all of the records. The IDs are unique anyway, so it's only ever going to update one. And then this does this replies returning. And is it affected rows or no? It is last seen. This should work. We got no errors. What else can we get? Affected rows. I don't know what affected rows is. Number of rows affected by the mutation. So this will only ever be one. Okay. So we got our mutation, I think. I think that's all we need for our mutation. We got that working. And then inside of here, we simply just need to check to see whether the user is authenticated. And we'll also destructure user from use auth state. So we'll need to import that as well. Import use auth state from the context auth. Maybe so we could put this behavior inside of auth. Maybe. Because that's wrapping the application anyway. We don't have to kind of dive in, dive out. If someone's logged in, this is a behavior. Yeah, it probably makes more sense to put this actually inside of the auth provider. But let's just keep it separate for now. We can move it in there. This just kind of keeps it nice and separate. Then we'll do use effect. And we will say when is authenticated changes. we want to run, well, if it's not authenticated, then we'll just return. But if we are authenticated, we'll go ahead and we'll call a function, or we'll add to router events. So we'll do router.events.on, and then we'll say this will be route change complete, and we'll say update last seen. I think that's okay. Then we'll return a new function that will unmount that behavior, and that will simply be router events off router. It's the same, and then we pass in the same function. Update last seen. So all we've got to do now is update this, create this function now. So we'll do const. We don't pass anything in because it's a closure, and then we can do await Hasura.request, and then we pass in that mutation name, which is update last seen, and then the variables ID and now. ID is going to be user.id, and now will be new date to ISO string. That's the format we need. We could probably store last seen URL. That might be a good idea if we do have an online users list, because back in the day of the forum scripts that I used to kick around on, you could go onto the online users list and you could see what page they were viewing. Like I say, with today's GDPR and privacy, we may want to, when users log in, say opt out of. Well, it'll probably have to be you opt into your location being tracked. But it's quite a cool retro feature that we could probably rebuild. But yeah, we've got this thing going on now where whenever the router changes, it's more. I think this is better to change when the route changes. We update the user last seen rather than an interval, set interval where it's ticking down all of the time, because then we're always ticking down. We've always got that handler doing something there. It's always going to be running, and if the user moves browser tabs or windows, it's still going to be updating and really then not on the forum. Whereas this way, it's really tracking their behavior and it's updating in the database that way when they were last seen. Otherwise, set interval, it will just update even if they are on a different tab or whatever. It doesn't make sense. So we'll do it this way where we hook into the next router, and we do it that way. Now I don't know if is it even worth doing that. Should we just get rid of that hook? We don't really need it, I don't think. I don't know what the difference is. I haven't looked. Okay, so we have that. I'm not sure what else we can do. Let's open the network tab now and see if we go to today's posts. There was a request here. That's just getting threads. We're not logged in anyway. That'll be why. So we'll log in. And if you go back to episode 1 or 2, you'll probably find my password. No mutations exist. So no mutations exist. That's because it's trying to send it with no token. If I just change to this page. So it's worked there. It must be there's no token available immediately, and that's the problem. So we're updating one user. so we can see that's the case. So obviously this this is running as soon as that route completes, and it probably is at that point it hasn't updated the context. Should we just be dirty here and say if there's no user, return? Still trying to run if there's no user ID. I'm not sure if this is even the problem, but let's figure it out. Update, that's still running. I'm probably just doing something obviously wrong here. So as soon as authenticate is updated, it will at that point have the user token. It may have not have written it to local storage at that point. But it's working anyway. It's updating the current user with the last seen. Let's just do console.log user. What's going on? So this is grabbing it from local storage. It probably doesn't have it in local storage. So that's probably why that's not working. I've got serious deja vu here that we've had this issue before. So as soon as we log in, it's trying to run. Because the route's changed, it's trying to run that mutation. But we don't have anything in local storage at that point. So that's why it's saying it can't update the user, because that mutation doesn't exist to guests. But we do have a user at that point. It's working. We've done the feature we wanted to do. It's just this last thing. This is why it's probably better inside of the auth, because then maybe we can add it to local storage. Let's do login. Do we have a mutation in here? Nope. Is it in auth? What are we doing? What are we doing, Jimmy? Login, users, get us by email. We'll grab last seen as well here. Register. We'll grab that. So we're calling that function as soon as the route change completes. But when that completes, it isn't going to necessarily have the user. But it should, because it's authenticated. And when it's authenticated, it means it has that token. The issue is probably this, where the client necessarily it hasn't had time, because we're invoking this and it's setting the token. Should we do that? Will that work? Log in. There we go. So the reason is, the problem that we have is the Hasura user client is making a request to local storage, and it's running this only once when we invoke the function. So when that updates, it isn't going to do anything. That's probably why we need to move maybe some of that behavior to the auth provider. Then we don't have to mess around. But here, we invoke the function then, because this function only runs once we're authenticated. While this is up here, that the value of Hasura user token is without the token, and no matter how many times we update it, that value has already been declared. And then instead of this closure, we can grab the user ID from up here. Probably makes sense to pass it down so it's a little bit more functional, but meh. We'll leave it as it is for now, and we'll not break too much. So when we click around the site, what we should do now is we should be updating in Hasura who, when people were last seen. I don't want to display that information just yet. We'll do that in another video. We'll display another table or another kind of box at the bottom showing online users. Or maybe we kind of split the layout here and we have like a little column on the left. And, right from the top to the bottom, we've got kind of user stuff and, the current context going on there. We'll get rid of this ugly header. So let's just create a new thread. Cool, we got response. Yeah, so right now you can click on your username and you can update your name. And yeah, for now, it seems good enough. So that's good. What should we call this thread? Users last seen. When you log in, your let's have a look at the register form. I'm wondering, can we do what we said? Because I'm really concerned about the privacy aspect of this. I know we don't want to be tracking what people were doing all of the time. We kind of want to give users the option to opt into this rather than just doing it by default. It doesn't sit well with me, so let's have a look and see how we can do this. Could we put that inside the user object? We'll just put it here for now. So email password, save last seen. token user save last seen. We'll probably just do it on the register page as well. Send that down. Then we just got to send that from the login page next. And that should work. So we do login. Let's go have a look at React hook form. We'll refactor all these form components at some point. Type as a checkbox. The name is going to be save last seen. And we have register already. Let's just add a label around this. Name is save last seen. Probably just need to set an ID. And we'll say, what should we say? Show me as online to other users. I'm not sure the wording. So show as online. We'll just do that for now. Do register pages. Yeah. Then if we go back to localhost and we log out and we click login, default value will be checked, will it? Is default value even the default value in this case? I can't remember what the default value is. Default checked or something? Right, let's have a look and see what this sends. It shouldn't send anything to GraphQL. It should just send it to our storage because this is a local thing. So we log in and we click this and we click login. And if we have a look at the network requests, we'll see it has made a request to update users last seen. So as we move around, it'll keep sending these requests to GraphQL to update when it was last seen, which is fine. If we log out this time and we click log in, we do not click that box and we click login. It should still send updated last seen because we will need to, in here, destructure save last seen. So because that's already set in the context, I don't think now, well, it is probably, Yeah, there we go. So it is no longer sending the updated at because we've said we do not want to show online to other users. Oh, this is awesome. That didn't take long, and that's, there's a bit of privacy there now. We can choose to log in as a guest and not have our online status shown, and not track when the user was last logged in as well. So I really like that we've baked that in. Yeah, I think that's it. 30 minutes and we've created the online stuff. So I'm just going to switch to a new branch. I need to sort that out. Problem with my git config, and we'll just create a new pull request. And we'll say that this closes issue number 46. This stores the user last seen on route change complete hook from next. If the user chooses not to show their online status when logging in or registering, then nothing is saved to their profile. Privacy. We'll submit that. Awesome. Brilliant. Well, that is good. It's working here. We'll open the deployment preview. We'll click login. I'm just going to log in because I'm happy to share my online status. And that will be there. So we'll say show online status. It's a new feature. When logging in or registering, you can toggle whether or not you want to show your online status to others. Right now, we are just handling this in the background, but soon online users will show in their profiles, coming soon, and on the index route, on the index page. Post that. Sweet. Right. That is it for today. Let's go ahead and merge that pull request, and we will pick up another issue tomorrow, and we'll keep building through this forum. So we've got a few issues left, and I'll go ahead and add some more. But we're making really good progress. I'm really happy with what we've done today. That only took 30 minutes. So go back and have a watch. We stored online users, and you can choose to hide your online status when you log in or register, just for that extra privacy. So yeah, thanks very much for tuning in. We'll be doing this every day in October. So thank you very much. Happy coding. Until then, until next time, happy coding, and yeah, feel free, post on GitHub any issues, join the forum at jamstackforum.com. Let me know what you think. Post any questions or feature requests. I'd love to hear from you.